Hello again, it's so nice to be with you today here, and I really hope you're doing great wherever you are. So today I have prepared a white canvas and I have applied a thin even coat of liquid white, so we are ready to start painting. So I have decided for today to do a nice autumn scene, and I'll try to build a big barn here, and let's have some fun today. I'm gonna start with a very small amount of cadmium yellow on my twins brush. And I want very little paint here in the sky today. And let's come up here and just make our crisscross strokes as always. And as you can see, the little amount of color is all it takes. And now with the same brush, I'm gonna go into a little amount of bright red. And we're not cleaning the brush because the red is much more strong compared to the white. So let's come up here and make our crisscross strokes again. Just very little color. Just like that. Now let's take a little bit of alizarin crimson, just a small amount of alizarin crimson, and gonna go here and take some phthalo blue. Let's have a purple color here. Load both sides, and let's give it a test. That's a nice color here. And by the time we're brush mixing the colors, we have so many nice variations of purple. Okay. And now we're gonna need a clean brush. Make sure it's clean and dry, and we're gonna bring all this together. This is what we normally do when we have skies like this. Soften it a little bit. Okay, now very gently, just go above the whole surface. Now we have a very effective sky in only a matter of minutes. I'm gonna return to my previous twins brush. Let's have some trees in the background. I'm gonna take some dark sienna here and a little bit of crimson maybe. Just a little bit of Van Dyke brown. Mainly dark colors, and just tap in here. Maybe I'm gonna take some yellow ochre to that. Maybe some white, little amount of titanium white here and there, and just tap here. Let's have some trees in the background. Just decide some basic shapes here. Some nice trees in the background. Okay, just use the corner of the brush for that. Let's have some big trees. Reload your brush. And maybe I want to paint some plains here today, I don't know. This is where I want to have a big barn. And we just add as many as a few of our trees in the background. And there's a small one in here, and have a big one that goes just outside the canvas. So I'll tell you what, let's fill the scene. So we finish playing with this brush. I'm gonna use some of the same colors, but only a little bit darker as we're moving forward right now. Let's take a little bit of sharp green to that. A little bit of ochre, and very small amount of titanium white. Let's layer the plains right now. So what we do is use the whole surface here of the brush and just tap. This is gonna be our guideline for the grassy areas, and this is where we decide the lay of the land too. And the secret to that is not to keep tapping at the same area because you won't get this nice grassy effect. So what we have to do is keep moving, and we're applying very little pressure. Just let the bristles do the work for you. I'm gonna return to the same colors and just darken it a little bit. As you can see, we're playing through the colors and we're only using the brush for that. Just tapping. And as you can see, we have gotten gradually darker. Okay. Just tap. As you can see, so many nice grass indications. And by the time we're using this big brush, it only takes a second or two to cover the whole area. And if you think you have some areas that are very distinct, I'll show you right now. Just tap in some of this paint and bring it down here. It's like loading the brush from the canvas. Or if you think they are more distinct, you can just tap and they will go away. Now let's do another layer. More browns this time, less white. And some of the yellow ochre. As you can see, we're getting gradually darker and darker. And by the time the color is mixing with the liquid white, we're getting all these nice variations. And it doesn't matter if you have some white areas in between, because this will be our separator. And make sure you do not let the brush slide when you're painting grass, because you are gonna get some streaks like that we don't want. We just want less effects like that. So if you think that I'm doing this very quickly, you can just slow down. I'm just doing this quickly because I don't want you to get bored seeing me slowly tapping a canvas with a big brush. Just tap. Add some more Van Dyke brown, darken the paint. And in here I can take some Prussian blue too, why not? Prussian blue, little amount of our black to that. And these are some nice grass indications. Okay, just like that, we have covered the entire area and we have layered the painting, so we can build things easier right now, okay? Now let's take the liner brush. Let's return to the background. I'm gonna take the liner brush and go with some paint thinner to some dark sienna. Just like that, load your brush. Let's come up here and build some tree trunks. If you're painting one flow, just add some paint thinner. Gonna need some paint thinner right now. Let's go in here and try not to make all the trunks straight, give them character, play with them. This is a big one right here. Big strong tree back here. And I believe you cannot make a tree trunk wrong, because tree trunks come in all shapes and, you know, all kinds of trunks you can see in nature. Some are small, some are big, some are crooked. Okay. Another big tree right here. And we're going to use very limited equipment for this painting. Okay, let's build a tree it's naked. Let's have a naked tree right here. This is going to get some interest in the painting. Okay. Now let's take a twins brush today. Let's use the twins brush. And I'm gonna go into some paint thinner. very small amount of paint in here. I'm gonna go into my yellows, load both sides. I'm gonna need a lot of paint for that. Vary the colors here. And this is what we're gonna use to paint the highlights and the grass and all this. Just remember we have an autumn scene, so we need less white. I mean, less green, I'm sorry. So just tap in some paint. As you can see, we have a nice ridge of paint on the palette that's actually loaded at the edge of the bristles here in the twins brush. So let's come here. Let's see that the light source is back here. So just tap in some nice leaf indications. Just here and there. And maybe there are some green leaves here left. Don't be afraid to vary the color here. Some bright red maybe. And play through the yellows and the greens. Just make sure you use the corner of the brush for that. And you might be afraid of this big brush, but I can guarantee that it really makes miracles when you get used to it. Don't be afraid. Use both sides. Just like that. Some more cadmium yellow, some bright red. Maybe there is a nice happy tree here. You can use the one-use brush if you want to, but by the time I have this one dirty, let's carry on with that. Let's have some nice bushes down here. Just paint some nice bushes. I'm gonna thin down my paint only a little bit, don't add a lot of paint into that. Just a touch of soft green, maybe some Indian yellow. Let's have another bush right here. All kinds of bushes live here in this forest. Maybe we're gonna leave this one dark in the background. Just remember to vary the height of your bushes and the shapes and the colors. Sometimes I get carried away and all my paintings look symmetrical. So let's build a small one in here, maybe some bright red or something. Just fill in some nice little bush and stuff. I'm gonna take my palette knife and let's scratch in some sticks and twigs. Make each one of these individual. Let's start painting some grassy areas. So the same thing is applied here, same rule. Some sap green and just push. Okay? And let's start from here, just tap. Just tap a little bit of paint in for me. And now it sticks much easier, as you can see, but be very gentle with that. And remember to paint each plane separately. Just like so. Some happy grassy areas leaving these plains. Vary your paint, and we always brush mix the colors. Look at this nice grass indication. Some are red, some are yellow, some are green, some are orangey. And look at the palette, we have so many different variations. This is what we are looking for, okay? And once again, if your paint is not sticking, just thin it down a little bit. gonna cover some more of this area. So if we have some nice grass indications, then we can decide where we want our barn to be. I'm gonna thin down my paint only a little bit. And return to my yellows and the greens. Make sure you can tell where the grass is and where the shadows and all this. Just vary your paint. Okay. Maybe vary these areas here. Have some nice yellowish hues or something. Okay. Tell you what, I think it's time to decide where we want our barn to be. I want to have a huge building here today. So let's be brave. Let's make it right here. Okay, so let's start with the balcony first. Let's say it's back here. We're making the basic outline in the start. Okay, and let's start right here. Maybe make it a little bit bigger here. You know, when you're doing this, you're not committing, so you can just change your mind whenever you want, okay? So we're trying to make these eaves even, so it looks more realistic. And now by scraping off the paint here, we're doing two things. We are removing the excess paint and we are, as you can see, preparing the basic shape. Just like that. Okay. Just like so. Now in here let's paint this eve now. Remove the grassy areas we fought so hard to paint. But it's alright, you know it's there and you practiced. And then you can come back and bring everything together. Remove some more paint. And the more paint you remove, the easier the application of the next layer will be. Okay, so let's make another extension of the building here. Removing more paint. Just like so. And when you are building buildings, you have to be very careful of your edges, and let's have another extension here. Just like that. Okay, so we have a basic shape for our bar today. Now let's use some Van Dyke brown. Let me clean the loose paint here. And I'm gonna use lots of Van Dyke brown today. So just load your brush with a huge roll. And let's start by painting the outline here. This is what we want to pay attention in the start. Okay, just try to fill this in, just like that. And do the same thing over and over, but try not to be coming in the same area over and over, because there is a danger of the colors over mixing and you end up with mud. So try to do these at one go strokes like that. So we start from up here and just go like this. Always remember to follow the angles. And what I'm using is only Van Dyke brown. Alright, like that. And let's go to the other side now. Let's have the outline right here. And what I'm doing is that I'm basically following what I have scraped off earlier. I have a guideline and make it just a little bit bigger so you can see it. This is excellent practice with a palette knife. I'm gonna use some more brown and just fill in the gaps you have made. Some more paint. And just follow these angles now. You have the little shade here. Okay? And you have complete freedom to paint whatever side you want first or whatever you want last. It's completely up to you, and this is what I love about this style of painting, that you're not committed to follow lots of rules and things that if you do not do, you're gonna ruin your painting. So in here we just went back and forth and fill in gaps that we have here in our building. The basic rule here is to enjoy, so if you do not enjoy what you're doing, you're probably doing the wrong thing. So and here I'm gonna separate those. Okay. Now fill in this side of the building. Just go with the roll of paint and just apply some paint. We're going to use a lot of paint for that, so make sure you have lots of Van Dyke brown on your palette, so you do not have to leave the palette down and load it with paint. So what I'm doing before I start painting is that I add a big amount of paint in my palette, and if I have some that is left over, I just put it on some aluminum foil. Then I use cling film to cover it, and I put it in a small box and then in the freezer. And that way you have saved lots of money and paint. So the next time you want to paint, you can just remove the paint from the aluminum foil and just put it on the palette and carry on painting. And I can guarantee you that this saves a huge amount of paint and money for you. Just make sure that you have very well covered your paints, otherwise they're gonna oxidize and they're gonna be ruined, and then you'll have to throw them away. So okay, so we have the main building here. Just fill in some gaps here and there. Now let's step back and see what we have. It's important to step back and see what we like or not, so we can fix it right now. And this is important to do with whatever aspect you're painting. Okay, so let's step back and see how the building looks. And I think it looks very nice, and we're gonna cut off the edges here when we have finished the building, so we have nothing to be afraid at the moment. Okay, now let's start highlighting. Let's take some white. I'm gonna use different piles of white, let's say. So let's start with the top and then work downwards. So I'm gonna take some bright red here, and I'm gonna take some dark sienna. Do not overmix, and I'm gonna take a roll of paint, and then I'll come up here and using no pressure, just do something like this, and let the paint break here and blend with what's underneath. That gives us a very nice old wood feeling or something. Just like so. And I'm gonna go to this side too and just touch like that. Just like that, and then we'll go to this small extension, a little shade here, and go to the other one too. Okay, right now let's clean the knife, and we're gonna do some more blending on top of this building. Let's have the white here and some of the dark sienna, so leave it like that, okay? And cut off a roll of paint and go just above that. So we have even more blending. Just like so. Maybe some more brown here. Just like that. And make the separation right here on top. Just touch. And do the same thing in here too, but this is like building the mountain or building rocks or something. Be very gentle with that. Okay, now let's go to the inside. I'm gonna use the same color here, just add some Van Dyke brown and maybe a little bit of yellow ochre to that. We want a nice marbled color, so let's come here and let's just go like that. See? Let the paint break like that. It's very, very important to add no pressure. And also the fact that we're using firm paint allows us to have this nice effect. Okay, do the same thing to these areas here. And the same thing in this one. Just start from the top and work downwards in one stroke. Now let's have some shadows back here. Gonna take some more white. This is too much. This is just a little bit of white, some Prussian blue maybe, and some Van Dyke brown, maybe a little bit of black too. This is ivory black, so we have grey tones. Cut off the roll of paint. And now start making the separations here. Just like that. And do the same thing to this side too. Just like that. Now with a clean knife, let's blend all these. Alright. Now let's have slabs. Let's take a clean knife and just do this. This is gonna look like old wood and old bar made from slabs, so just with a clean knife we're gonna scratch in some blank indications. Clean my knife from time to time. And make them as straight as possible. Okay, now let's step back once more and see what we have. Tell you what, I want this a little bit darker here. I have too much white maybe, so let's take some straight Van Dyke brown and just go above this area. Just like that. As you can see, we can have lots of layers of paint, and the only thing we're getting is some nice tones. Let the colors blend. Now let's see what we have. Well, this is much better. Make the separations now with just a little bit of white. Let's have a separation line right here. and this one right here and there. Now we can tell what we're having here. Just touch with a very small roll of paint. Now we need something like a big door. Let's take some more Van Dyke brown. Let's have a big door. Let's have a big door. Like that. Just make it the right shape and the right size. Maybe get it a little bit bigger. Just like so. And gonna add the final details here. And now with a clean knife, just make it stand out a little bit. And I think we have a finished old barn here. Now I'm gonna cut off the edges of the building. Work on our perspective here. Just like that. And what we're gonna do is take our brush with the grassy color on and just clean the edges of this. Just tap gently, very, very gently. Just with a big twins brush, it's very easy to do. Okay, let's play a little bit right now. Cover a little bit more of my planes here. Tell you something, let's have a path and then decide to have something in the foreground to push the barn back. So let's take a fan brush right now. I'm having a number 6 fan brush for that. I'm gonna take some Van Dyke brown. So let's start from here. Let's have a big path. And make it as big as you want in here. Just use the same color and just go back and forth and blend this. We want a big path right in front of us. Just make it a little bit bigger in here. Just give it a little bit of character. Okay. And just make it huge here in the front and more distinct, so I'm applying more pressure and more paint. Just like that. I'm gonna use the same brush and go into some white with some sienna, some bright red maybe. And let's highlight this one. If you think that the paint is not sticking, just add a little amount of liquid white to that. Maybe some more white. And just go above that. Some more paint and use some more white. There we are now. And this is much more distinct and allow it to blend with the color that's underneath, and we have all these nice effects. Just like that. Okay, now in order to fix the path, I'm gonna use the big brush once more, and we're gonna give the path the final form. There's a road path, I don't know what it is, but just go in here and just tap in some grass indications. Maybe there are some grassy areas that are coming right on top of the road, the path, whatever you call it. Maybe this barn is abandoned. Just make up some stories and put them on canvas. Right now I think it's abandoned, maybe, who knows. Just like so. And when you're going closer to the road, just add more paint and just the corner of the brush. And do the same thing in here too. Take some sap green right now and let's play backwards too. Just like that. Okay. Now work towards the path. Okay. Now let's have something to break the scenery here. Tell you what, I want something maybe in here, I don't know. Let's take a big brush. So I'm gonna take some Van Dyke brown here, some Prussian blue maybe, some crimson, some green, a little bit of black. So all dark colors here. Let's tap in, let's have a big tree or something. Maybe this is something that is just in front of the road, so let's start from down here. There's a big tree right here, and I want to hide the barn a little bit, so it doesn't matter if I come just in front of that, we know it's here. So let's build our big tree right now. Just give some character to your tree. And there's a bush here, big bush, like that. Okay. And maybe I want to have something on the other side too. Let's decide what we want to have. Maybe have, who knows. Let's take a knife. When you're making up something in your mind, just don't be afraid to put it on canvas. So I'm gonna take some Van Dyke brown and let's have a big tree. Big tree. Right here. Just push this in. There we go. Now, just gonna sort out the outline. But you don't have to worry a lot about the outline or the basic shape, because we will come back with highlights and make this, bring all this together, So don't be afraid. Maybe there's a big root on this tree. So let's give it a big root here. And painting should make you feel free. Whatever you decide to do, this is the right thing to do. So if you have a different opinion with me on putting a tree on this side, you can just leave it out. It's completely up to you. I just want to have something. Let's give it a big arm too. Just like that. Big strong arm for this tree. Just put in some paint. Okay. So we'll have something to look forward in the foreground too. So our painting doesn't look too flat. Okay. Let me clean off my palette a little bit. Now let's spend time with a big tree first. I'm gonna take a fan brush and I'm gonna take some Van Dyke brown on one side and I have white color on the other. So we have dark here and light here. So let's have a big tree trunk. So we can have the highlight and the shadow in one stroke. Just give it another one. Just like that. And just add some baby limbs here. Okay. Maybe we want to take some paint thinner and just go into the same color and put a little tree trunk on this baby tree here. Just bring it to life like that. And as I've told you earlier, when you're seeing things, don't hold back, just put them in. And if you're not satisfied, next time change your mind and do something different, or at the very same time just grab it off and paint over. It's completely up to you. And I'm gonna take my big brush, take some green and some of my yellows, bright red maybe, and just push here. Okay, so let's paint some foliage. I need to make it a little bit lighter, so I'm gonna thin it down a little bit, but only a little bit, and use some more yellow maybe. That way you can see it. There we are. And this big brush is just excellent for making foliage. I mean, look at all these leaves that are coming alive from your brush in just a stroke. Make sure you leave dark areas in between. And let's separate this one too. Maybe make it a little bit orangey. I like orange, as you can tell from the background of my room. Another bush lives here, and let's play through the colors. Some more soft green, some yellow. Just make a mess of colors here. Some nice bush indications here and there. And in here we can just clean the edges of the road, just like that, just by tapping, gently, gently, gently. Okay? Now let's paint, tell you what, let's scratch in some sticks and twigs here, so these bushes are not floating. Now let's put some highlights on this tree. I'm gonna clean off this spot because I have liquid white here and I want to make the paint to break in here. So let's do something. Let's get the small knife. I have a small knife here, and I'm gonna take some white, take some of my dark sienna, maybe a little bit of yellow ochre. So cut off the roll of paint. As you can see, I have a lot of paint in here. And now be very gentle. Come up here and let it break like that. This is exactly what I was looking for. And down here the big root also. And if you want, you can come just over again and give it a little bit more blending. Just like that. Now I want to have some reflected light here too. So I'm gonna take some blue, brown and white and just come in here. And not easily. Give this a private shadow. Now I'm gonna go into the brown. Just straight Van Dyke brown and bring all this together. Just like so. And we don't want this arm here to be left out, so just giving some highlights. Okay. Just take some more brown and let's give it a little bit of a brownish feeling. And by the time the colors are mixing, you can see the paint is breaking in here and we have all these nice variations. You can just go over and over until you have the desired effect. Let's add some more blue back here. And the small knife is really coming in handy. Okay, so let's clean the foot of this one. Just hide the big root a little bit. Some more paint down here. Maybe give it some leaves, I don't know. I just want to go crazy today. There's just a corner here for that. Just go over that. Just tap in some paint, but be very, very careful not to drag a lot of the brown color of this tree to the center of the painting. So just reload your brush from time to time, just like so. And I think that we have come to the finish of a big, nice painting. And I really hope you learned how to build grass, trees, and of course focus on a big building. It was an honor to be with you today. I really enjoyed today's episode. And just leave me a comment to tell me if you liked it too. And anything that you want to tell me, good or bad, just make sure you do, okay? So until next week, I'd like to wish you happy painting, take care, and I'll see you soon.